It's time for Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair in West Reading. Got a question about your vehicle? Give us a call at 610-374-8800 or 888-401-0459. So let's get started with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair. Here's Tom and Ashley.
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to Idle Talk. I am Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here live on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, beautiful, scenic West Reading. And we are Idle Talk. And also, we are on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and navigate out to Facebook, look for or search for King's Auto Repair. Like and follow, and you'll get notifications when we go live so you can see our beautiful faces for radio. And we're taking calls 610-374-8800. 888-401-0459 is the toll-free number. And if you have questions and you don't want to call in, you can always go out to Facebook, watch us, and then you can type in a question into the comment bar, and we can try to answer that maybe on the fly, or if you do it during a commercial break, we can figure out how to answer that question. So we are here.
That's right.
What are Tommy's gonna spearhead this this movement here because
I was very busy yesterday afternoon, so I did not listen to the radio after we got off the air. Mm-hmm. And when we came in today, Elon said we had some people calling and talking about the right to repair stuff.
It's a very big deal, but that no one knows about.
Yeah, very few people know about it, and it's something that kind of affects everyone in life.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it, that it's even happening, because this is it's been fought on the side of proprietary rights type of stuff.
Yeah.
And what made me pick it up, and, we talked a little bit about it last year, because Massachusetts had something on their ballot that they were arguing over right to repair stuff up there because of certain car manufacturers. And,
right.
And they were fighting over it, and they actually put a thing on the ballot, and the car manufacturers were actually trying to scare people into thinking that if they were to allow people to have access to the computers in their car, that they would essentially have people coming out and trying to mug them.
What?
It was actually really crazy. And really the battle was about some of these car manufacturers are now putting in what they call a firewall in cars. And they weren't allowing access to any outside people unless you had a certified scan tool from that manufacturer.
So before we kind of get into the deep dive of this, I want to really quickly talk about the ballot measures that states like Massachusetts, California does it. All states do a ballot measure, but the thing that becomes kind of frustrating with the ballot measure is sometimes they're written ambiguously, so you don't know if you're voting yes to support this ballot measure or yes to not support the ballot measure. So it may be, so when we go to vote, I'm not going to get political here because this is cars, but when we go to vote, it may behoove of you to go out to the elections board for the county, wherever your county is, and read the ballot measures before you're standing and looking at them in the ballot, standing in your little curtain ballot area, to understand what you're going to be voting for. Because a lot of times when a faction wants to have the vote yes or no, they will write this item in an ambiguous fashion so as to kind of confuse people or kind of do a little bit of fear mongering and to get the answer that they want. So it's really, really important for people to know what you're going to vote for, especially for these ballot measures that are kind of a big deal. I mean, they're a big deal because we, the people, get to figure out get to say what we want and what we don't want. So this ballot measure that you're talking about, it was in Massachusetts, it was obviously introduced to be a little ambiguous.
Yes. Well, what it was actually about was a lot of the newer cars record a lot of information about your driving. And what was happening was a lot of the vehicle manufacturers are just taking that information from your driving habits and putting it into a database. So essentially, they're tracking your car as you drive.
Sure.
So they're picking up, and they're claiming they're doing it for research purposes. But where it came up it was a privacy, it had to do about privacy.
Sure.
And who actually owned that information that the car was collecting as you were driving. The vehicle manufacturers were claiming it was their information because it was their software collecting it, and that there was no way to ID anybody from this.
Okay, so there's no human / social security number / whatever bank account number behind this data. It's just raw data.
Yeah, but they know what car it's coming from.
Sure. Because
these cars that are actually uploading this information actually have cell phone signals back to the deal. They have computers in them. They have cell phone signals, and they send the information back to the manufacturer over the cell phone network. So as you're driving and it's doing this, the argument came that that's not really their information, because the information might be collected by the car, but you as a driver are actually generating that information for the vehicle manufacturer, and being that they're not paying you for it because you had purchased the item from them, that you actually own that data that car's collecting. And that's where the ballot came up.
Okay.
Now, when they advertised this and they wanted people to vote against allowing that they wanted the vehicle manufacturers to actually get this information legally, what they were looking at was they went out and they told people that what would happen is they were going to gather your information, and then stalkers were going to come and get you. Which is
insane.
Which is exactly opposite of the stuff they had originally stated.
Okay.
So they were trying to confuse.
Yeah.
So basically a vote against this was, or I don't remember if it was for or against, but the one vote was that you owned the data, and the other vote was the vehicle manufacturer owned the data. So when it came down to it, the people in Massachusetts voted that they owned the data.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't seem like much, but this actually goes back to the right to repair stuff.
Okay.
Because this is access of information.
And, okay, so who owns the data? I know there's multiple camps of like, well, it's my data, I should keep it. I look at it this way. If I'm generating data for just by merely driving a car, if I'm generating data for an automobile manufacturer to make my life easier, better, safer, more environmentally friendly, and I'm not doing anything, they can have my data. I don't care. Secondly, if I were to, quote, keep my data, what am I going to do with it? What would I be able to do with that data that would be beneficial to the rest of society?
Well, I think it has more to do with they were more interested in, is this going to get back to the insurance companies in the way you drive? Because there's nothing stopping the vehicle manufacturer of correlating that data to that car, because they know the signal that car sends. They know which car it came from. They know who owns the car. They don't necessarily know who's behind the wheel. But if the insurance companies came knocking and said, hey, we are looking for information.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
I am looking for information here about drivers of these cars. Do you have these numbers? And they could quite possibly sell it.
Sure. And then
that's where if the vehicle manufacturer owns that data, they can sell it. But if they don't own that data, they can't sell it.
Okay.
It would stop with them.
Okay.
Because you would have to sign an agreement that says, yes, you can collect the data, but no, you can't sell it.
Okay. Well, I mean, technically you could, there's so many caveats in selling a car that like Massachusetts could be like, okay, whenever you sell a car, whenever you register that car, that's going to automatically tell the manufacturer that you can or can't sell the data. I mean, they could write that into a law.
Yeah.
So I understand where the people are like, oh, I don't want my insurance company to know that I drive like a, you know what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or, they accelerate hard 30% of the time. So we're going to raise their rates because, 30% of the time they're being unsafe.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's think about that for a second. Doesn't Progressive have the little dongle that they like to plug in?
Yes.
They say that they're helping you.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
They are monitoring you.
Correct.
They're monitoring how you drive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of inputs in a car nowadays if you have a modern car. So if you have a modern car, it's not, there's a lot of sensors in there that they can look at for acceleration and how hard you turn and how fast you turn and all kinds of things.
Well, the advantage is we've been with our same company for a bazillion years, so, even if they tried to.
Well, and that's an option for those companies, too, that people put those things in.
Yeah.
It's not like they tell you have to.
Right. Yeah. No, they to get a lower insurance rate because now a lot of insurances are. I'm not an insurance agent. I'm just merely telling you what the commercials tell me. A lot of commercials are like, buy only what you need, pay for only what you need, and they're paying by the mile and that kind of stuff. Like I think Allstate is advertising pay by the mile, so they would have to know how much you're driving in order to, unless you'd have to report it somehow. So, anyway, that was a little bit of a deep dive into that kind of stuff. So please continue. Oh, we have 1 minute. Okay. Sorry. That's my outside voice. My internal voice was outside for a minute. Sorry. Didn't take that long for me to screw it up. Way to go, Ash.
Been a long day already,
It's been an
Ash.
interesting day. Interesting day so far. Gosh, love it.
But yeah, so and the reason it's fought in Massachusetts is years ago they actually had something on the ballot which gave them the right there in Massachusetts to vote on this kind of stuff, and it matters because whatever happens in one state is usually put across to all the other states.
Yeah.
Years ago, when California started getting harder on their emissions, we had different cars. We had cars that had California emissions, and then we had cars that were federal emissions. And then New York adopted, and the law was that if a state had California emissions, the adjoining state also had to have cars that were California emissions.
Because of crossing over.
Because of crossing over and the crossing the borders and possibly selling cars that weren't certified for that state. Anymore, vehicle manufacturers got tired of making separate parts for cars.
Right.
They now just make them all to California emissions.
Yeah.
And we had California emissions here because New York State adopted California emissions.
And we border New York State. Yeah.
So by default, we got California emissions cars here. And it was a ratio of how many you had to have, so they weren't 100%.
Yeah.
But some cars have it, some cars don't. So that was another one of those things that just kind of shows that what one state does kind of ends up going across all the states.
It's a little bit of a trickle down.
Yeah. Because the vehicle manufacturers don't want to make multiple different cars.
No. All right. At that, let's take a little breaky break. 610-374-8800, 888-401-0459. We're taking your calls, talking about cars, and we'll be right back after these messages.
And now let's get back to Tom and Ashley with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here at 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are Idle Talk, and we are from King's Auto Repair. And we are talking about the right to repair law.
Yes, and and like I said yesterday, is the whole thing popped up on my radar because the Daily Show, it is on the Comedy Central network. One of their
Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah. They're after 11 o'clock late night TV shows.
Okay, which caveat, we never stay up that late. Okay,
No.
we used to be able to stay up that late when we were
Younger.
younger.
Now it's that whole thing. You're getting older and you can't stay up as late.
9:30, I'm crashing out on the sofa. Anyway, so
anyway, they had actually picked up a story on it because of the McDonald's ice cream machines.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's always seems to be a hot topic. And as Elon said yesterday, 10% of the machines in the U.S. were down yesterday because
which
they have
is
a website
lot.
that tracks them.
I mean, how many McDonald's are there out there? And the 10% of that is quite a number.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, and that's what actually caught their attention on it.
Yeah.
And when their writers started looking into it, they started digging in and finding a lot more stuff, and that was in the Elon's coming through. He says currently 9% broken, so they got 1% fixed yesterday. That's excellent.
That's probably a pretty good number. 13% of those in
Oh,
Philly.
oh, so 13% of those were in Philly that were broken.
Oh my
so,
goodness,
yeah,
that's
so maybe
funny.
it's just affecting the Northeast.
Well, there is a pretty good population density here in the Northeast, so yeah, there's a lot
So-
more. But anyway,
So, and late night TV comedy shows and that really don't pick up on stuff until it starts to be a major thing.
yeah.
And I thought, this was something we touched on last year, and I thought, well, I'll bring it back to the forefront of everybody's, thinking about it again, because if you don't and you let this stuff go, what's going to happen is one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, you can't get your stove fixed, you can't get your refrigerator fixed, you can't get anything with any type of electronics fixed in it because you're blocked from any person but the manufacturer being able to fix it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them won't support stuff after so many years.
Right. And the other thing with this is the manufacturer can support it, and I'll use the word grudgingly, because they can support it like, oh, right, I know what's going to happen anyway, so I'll support it because I have to, because of the right to repair law. But I was talking to our buddy from DoubleClick, Doug from DoubleClick, and I was just asking him about, like, because they rebuild computers and they'll buy, like, Macs, they do all Apple products. And he was saying that back even not that long ago, that you could, if someone maybe broke a screen on a Mac, but the keyboard was still good, he could purchase that and take the screen off and put a different screen on and have just kind of what we do. We fix cars and sometimes sell it, or, still a person can use it. So you can just repair that.
Repair the broken piece on it.
Just the broken piece. But recently he said that because Apple doesn't want to support like aftermarket, or they're grudgingly supporting more or less and less aftermarket, the keyboard, there's like 3 components in the keyboard, and you can only buy the entire keyboard. Just like the screen, you can only buy the entire screen. You can't just buy like the outside of the screen. It's like the screen and then the backing and then any component in there. It's all one big
giant piece. You can't just separate the glass off that broke,
right,
type of thing. Secondly,
he was saying, and this is all goes back to the right to repair, if he wants to marry 2 other pieces, so a keyboard that's 2 components, it's the keyboard with all the board and then just the back, and then the screen from 2 different machines and make that one machine, he has to take it to his Apple server. He has another location up in Bethlehem. His Apple server, plug it into Apple and say, hey, these two components are getting married and they're going to be one component now. And then Apple reassigns them a whole nother serial number to say this one has been rebuilt. So that's all new stuff that Apple is doing to just monitor more and more of what Apple's doing, because they want that locked down. They don't want anyone else to go out there and try to fix anything.
So that means if you took it to an independent person to get the screen fixed, they're eventually not going to be able to fix the screen.
Yeah, they're just going to have to replace the entire machine.
Yeah. So this is what's been being fought on the automotive front for many years, because they've made a lot of stuff components now. Like you can't get you can't get stuff separate. So there's a lot of people starting to kind of backwards engineer stuff now.
Right.
And there's some groups out there that are backwards engineering things to be able to fix this stuff. Because there's a lot of times there's nothing wrong with it other than it needs, it needs a resistor, or it needs a little something here, a little something there.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that have the knowledge to fix it.
And ability.
Yeah. But the manufacturers won't give you the information to be able to do it.
Yeah, which is incredibly frustrating. And it, it's all the right to repair, but it's really hard to monitor on a manufacturer by manufacturer level. Because there's Apple, and then there's Samsung, and then there's Microsoft, and then there's Frigidaire, and all the other things. So it's anyway.
Yeah. So you have and at the end of the Trevor Noah thing, they even alluded to medical equipment.
Oh, that's right.
How
Yeah,
a lot of medical equipment also is locked down by the manufacturers, and the people working in like the IT departments in the hospitals and that, people that have knowledge to fix this stuff or get the medical equipment back online can't touch it because of they can't get the information on how to fix it. And they're like, I'm sure we can, but we need the information. We need the books on how the stuff actually works.
So just to wrap this up, be aware. Talk to your local and state Congress people. Understand what's coming up in the Pennsylvania legislature, because this is just really important stuff. And talk to your legislators. Make sure that you know that they know that what's happening, and that it is important for this data and information to be shared and be available to the general public to fix their items, because this can get to a point where you're just like, well, I've used this stove for 3 years and now I have to throw it away because I can't get the board for it,
Yeah, can't get it fixed, whatever.
Yeah, can't do anything to it. So, all right, let's talk to George. Hi, George.
Good evening.
Hello.
I have 3 real quick questions. But on a side note, when did these newer cars start coming out with the LCD display and the CD players, as well as the USB ports?
I'm going to say USB ports were probably 2008, 2010, somewhere in there.
My Mustang has one. That was a 9.
Yeah, LCD screens, you mean like the big picture ones? Or
yeah, like you have in the 16 Rogue.
Yeah, I'm gonna say those started in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
probably in Mercedes,
BMW started those with the 2004 7 Series with the display on it. So Mercedes was probably right around there. Also, they're both 2 pioneers in that technology kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think some of the Lexus had those too.
Infiniti did pretty early.
Always the expensive cars that come out with that pioneering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they always seem to put that stuff into the like highline expensive cars first, and it's almost like we're going to charge you a whole lot for it. We're going to see if it works. Hopefully it does.
Yeah. But then if it breaks, it's under warranty, so it can always get fixed, at least for the first 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So.
Here are my questions for the night.
Okay.
Made a quick list. Wiper fluid for the, I happened to go out into the store and get some more today.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to go, after picking it up at the local market, I happened to see fluid orange color for RVs and trailers. I didn't read the details, but other than to say it was down to -50.
Okay.
What is it? Some sort of antifreeze for the pipe?
It is. It is antifreeze for, like, if you want to, they call it RV antifreeze. And it's basically to pour in your sinks and in your drains and in your lines to keep everything from basically swelling up and freezing. When if you winterize a house, you would use it too. So, like, if you had something that, like a sink or something that had an outside drain or something, you could pour it in there and it'll keep it from freezing.
Very good, thank you. About to do an oil change on my car.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the 16 Rogue. Requires 0W20.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under the impression that car needs the fully synthetic oil. I noticed that about a month or two ago, it's up to $8 a quart from $5.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Not just you, Georgie. Not just you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up 60%. Mm-hmm. Now, does my car, I have trouble reading the manual because I don't own spectacles.
Okay.
Does my car require the fully synthetic oil?
020 comes in two flavors. It comes in semi-synthetic and synthetic, and that's it. And the price difference between the two probably isn't going to be much. We've actually, that is one of the things that we are having issues with shortages on is oils. Our manufacturer, we use a lot of Quaker State stuff, and there is no Quaker State 0W20 to be had. We actually got Pennzoil, and they told us that that's actually running low too. So that's why you're seeing the prices of the oils going up. And I don't know what the reason is for that, but yeah, we're seeing the pinch there too.
What would happen if I were to use, I'll call it conventional motor oil, and even using 5W20?
So probably 5W20. I'll tell you Toyota's take on it. Toyota says you can use 5W20, but they tell you to switch back to 0W20 at the next oil change.
Okay, so you do every other one.
Yeah, that's what Toyota says. Now, with 020, if you're using conventional, being that you could, if you just use straight conventional 5W20 in it, without any synthetics or cleaners or anything, you can end up with sludge in there. A lot of the synthetics won't sludge up.
So best to, be safe than sorry. Always use the conventional.
Yeah.
Well, use what the manufacturer specifies because they specify it for a reason. And let's be honest here, George. If you're doing your own oil change and you're going to spend $60 on it, buy the good oil because engines are expensive.
Yeah,
that's my PSA for everybody. Okay,
I agree with you.
Yeah. So
I remember the old days when, for example, in that old Dodge Aspen or the Chevy Nose I had or whatever the case might be, used to go 10W40 would go 5,000 miles, and then at about 4,500 I'd put a mason jar, maybe 25 ounces, 30 ounces worth of kerosene just to get the schmutz out of the oil, the pan.
Yeah, to thin it out and clean it.
Yeah.
Last question for tonight.
Those are the good old days. Anyway, yes?
I appreciate your time.
Sure.
I'm making a point to, under your persuasion, to clean my car windows all the way around.
Uh-huh.
Every 7 to 10 days, and then especially every week, every Saturday morning, I go out and I clean the windshield inside and out, the tailgate glass inside and out, and the driver's side windows or front car door.
Oh.
Now, as I've noticed that if I do it at about right now with no direct sun, I never get any streaks. So because the sun doesn't evaporate the cleaning fluid. The main thing I'm concerned about is how how to clean the wiper blades. I'm afraid to put, for lack of another way to put it, Windex fluid, cleaning fluid, on the wipers to clean them off. I would imagine, guess, or suppose, or think that maybe the ammonia in the Windex itself will eat away at the rubber in the wiper.
So what I would do is, you got some washer fluid there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a little bit of washer fluid, put it on a paper towel, and just kind of slide it down and clean it off. I've used Windex before on ours, but I'm trying to think. I have a different company that we use to clean windshields, called Invisible Glass.
Yeah.
And it's made here in PA, and it works quite well. It's not the cheapest stuff, but it does clean windshields very well, and it does it without streaking. Seems to be better than Windex. I've used that, and I don't smell any ammonia on it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't smell. It's almost like you're using water, but it's a nice cleaner.
So for yourself, I'd recommend, as one time I did some janitorial work, look for McCall's glass cleaner. It's for professional use.
Okay.
On janitorial use. Comes in a golden paper label with a blue emblem on it.
Okay.
McCall's, that's what I've used. I might use Windex on the glass to
kind of like a first clean type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to polish it off, I use the McCall's or and it has and man, I'll tell you, it has a real pretty smell too.
That matters.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break, George.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you.
We're taking your call, 610-374-8800, 888-401-0459, and we'll be right back.
We're back with more Idle Talk with Tom and Ashley from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are Idle Talk, and we're from King's Auto Repair. So
I was going to say, George brought up a really good thing, though, about cleaning off the wiper blades.
Okay.
Because that's where a lot of the streaks, you get a lot of streaks.
Yeah.
Because the bugs get stuck to it and the dirt gets stuck to it and all that.
Yeah.
And you might not need a new set of wiper blades. Just cleaning them off usually you'll find out really quickly if you need them. Because if you clean the dirt and stuff off and then dry them and they clean your windshield really well, you don't need new blades.
Yep.
Because a lot of times you see they're not clearing correctly because there's either a bug stuck to the windshield or there's a bug stuck on the wiper itself. Yeah. So, yeah. So
we're going to dig into, is this part of the right to repair?
No,
not really.
This is just something I opted in for the tracking of my internet stuff, so they send me articles that I could be interested in. So
hey, it
it's
helps,
great.
it helps put content together for the radio show. It's good.
And I thought about this because at first I was going to be like, well, they're going to advertise stuff at me anyway. Mm-hmm. I might as well have them advertise stuff that I'm interested in.
Interested, yeah, absolutely.
If somebody's going to advertise something to me, I might as well make it something I might buy, you know, or an article I might read.
Yeah.
So this was an article that was like a suggested article to me.
Okay.
And what it was about was buying a new, so you go out and you buy a used Tesla. Mm-hmm. I know we're going back on the Tesla thing, but
bear with us.
But bear with us because this also has a bearing on something else we had talked about. And a lot of other manufacturers said, nope, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
They tried it, and they were like, nope. Not doing it. So, because of the backlash. Mm-hmm. So, what a lot of these new electric cars, they're talking about these over-the-air updates and how they can fix a car, through that cell phone signal that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And they can basically update your car for you if it needs some kind of computer reflash or whatever over the air. Which sounds great, right?
So a computer reflash is just BMW does this. All manufacturers can do this, but they do it over the air. And what it is they basically take all the information out of whatever component, and then they put it back in. So with the updated information. So that's why it's called a reflash. Sometimes it's the entire car. Sometimes it's just a module.
Yes. Sometimes it's just, you have this odd problem, and the problem's because someone didn't write the computer code correctly. So they write new computer code and they put it in the computer, and now it operates correctly.
And ta-da.
There you have it. So one of the interesting things with the electric cars is they're touting this over-the-air updates. So if you're having some kind of odd problem like that, say the windows aren't operating correctly, and somebody messed up the computer coding for it. So they fix the coding, they can send it over. Great. Sounds wonderful. Where this is coming into play and is the more interesting thing is with Tesla, when somebody buys a used one and it has some type of upgraded package on it that the previous owner had purchased, they're saying it doesn't go with the car. And you will buy the car, and all of a sudden one day it'll come out and it'll be gone. And like some feature that you had won't work. So
I wonder if it has to be an add-on feature in terms of your I don't know, you buy a different package or options for like whatever car you're buying. You buy a new Escape, and you get the tow package or whatever. I don't know, and it's an option, but it's on the car. So with the Tesla, if you opt for that option and you paid extra for it as the first owner, then the second owner doesn't pay for it technically, according to Tesla. The second owner doesn't pay for it, and they take it away.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little about all that.
Yeah. So when you think about it, though, somebody already paid for it. So when you go in and you buy a regular car, it comes with those options.
Yeah.
You paid for it. You got them. When you sell the car, you say, hey, it has these options.
Right. It's a selling feature.
It brings more value to the car because it has more features, right?
Yes.
So what's happening is people are buying these used Teslas, and it's coming with these like heated seat packages, and the one is the self-driving stuff.
Okay.
And the other is their ludicrous speed package, which makes them really, really fast. And they are buying them with these packages and they're paying more money for them. And they said about 60 days after they purchase it, the stuff disappears.
Tesla's like, nope, that's mine.
They said, so they want to get paid again.
Right.
To turn that back on.
That was going to be my next question. If you call Tesla and be like, hey, this is my VIN, can I get these extra packages? I mean, buyer beware, because if someone's selling a Tesla, and someone's buying a Tesla, I guarantee you whoever is buying that Tesla has done a bazillion hours of research on that car. I guarantee it, because Tesla owners are just kind of like that. They love them. They research them. They find all out about them. I mean, that's just kind of what you're giving me the eyebrows.
No,
okay.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
They would. I'm pretty sure that new buyer would know that there's a caveat with these additional packages that there's like it has the blah 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 package.
Yeah.
So
what's really crazy is they said the Model X performance package costs $20,000.
What?
And that's just an over-the-air update.
No.
So
absolutely not.
If somebody buys it, pays that
Yes.
extra money, right? You can go get a very nice sedan for that. Well, I don't know about the prices of cars, but you used to be able to get a really nice sedan for $20,000.
I could at least put a big fat down payment on like a new BMW. Thank you.
Or you could go buy a Honda Accord and for $20,000.
Yeah.
So, but the upgrade package for that is $20,000. So when you think you're buying something with this package, and then all of a sudden it disappears, it's going to cause. I'd be mad.
I'd be peeved. And the crazy part about this, all of this is like, okay, I know it's software. I know it's all coding. I know it's many hundreds of thousands of hours of coding, but $20,000, shazam. That's a big price tag.
Yeah. So
I had no idea. That was not,
you were thinking
that was
this
not
was
contrived or anything. That was like,
you were like, oh, this is probably like $500, $1,000. Yeah, okay,
whatever.
okay.
20 grand.
20 grand. Yeah.
Anyway.
So we had talked about it before with subscription services.
Yeah.
Because a lot of car manufacturers were talking about subscription services, and a couple of them rolled them out, and they removed them right away.
They got their hands smacked. Like, never mind.
Like, we're not. The stuff is on the car. It should work.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to pay extra money to make it work.
Yeah, that was BMW that actually did that.
Yeah.
They got their hands smacked. Like, oh, never mind. We didn't mean to do that. Please still continue to love us.
Exactly.
Here's all the stuff.
Here's the stuff that you paid for, and we're going to stop charging you a subscription for it.
Here.
So just be aware that this is something that could happen with these cars that claim to have the over-the-air updates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, used cars are a great bargain, but sometimes
might have to get a little tinfoil hat for the car. Tinfoil hat for the car.
Okay, let's take a break. This is going to be our last break of the night. So give us a buzz if you want to call. I can probably talk to one more person. 610-374-8800, 888-401-0459, and we'll be right back.
And now let's get back to Tom and Ashley with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here at 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are Idle Talk, and we're on Facebook Live. So go out to Facebook and look for King's Auto Repair. You'll get notifications if you like it and follow us, and you'll see our beautiful faces for radio. I moved my mic.
Oh.
There we go.
Making noise.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Still got your mic fix on there months later. A couple rubber bands. It's all holding in place.
Actually, this one's starting to fray.
Oh,
so
no.
I
We might have to get another rubber band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, no. That's right. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's what Super Mario says. Anyway, so.
Oh.
I got some.
You got Tyler to laugh.
I got noise out of Tyler. That's pretty good because Tyler's pretty much unflappable. So, let's talk about something that everyone is dreading, and that's winter driving conditions and weather. Yay. I mean, I know I'm not looking forward to it, but I'll be completely honest. I would much rather, because Tom and I have kind of negotiated our winter driving vehicles, and because someone doesn't want me to buy another car, me and Tom.
Yeah.
We don't need another one anyway. So I said, so let me get this straight. You're going to drive the truck with a plow on it when it snows, and I'm going to drive the Sequoia. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, maybe I'll drive Dusty.
There you go.
Because I don't mind sliding Dusty off the road.
That's our old service truck that we run around the borough with.
Yeah, it's a 1991 Toyota 4Runner. If anyone knows the story, I bought it by accident, and I woke up in the morning. I'm like,
She put a bid on it on eBay.
Oh, I've won that bid on eBay. Babe, we have to go to New Jersey.
She was the only bid on it. It was fine quality truck.
Any other 4Runner that I had bid on went over my bid. And this is the only one, so it was obviously meant to be.
Yep. So we had to drive to New Jersey to pick it up.
So I woke up that morning, I checked my phone, and I was like, oh, God, now I got to go to New Jersey. Now, first of all, I have to break the news to Tom that I bought a car, and that it's, number 2, it's in New Jersey, and number 3, we have to take the day off to go get it today. So I went upstairs, and I was like, we're going to have to go to New Jersey today. And Tom's like, why? And I told him, he's like, oh, God, all right. Get a trailer.
Let's do this.
That was fun. Anyway, so I'd much rather slide that off the road in the middle of winter in a snowstorm than
the new Sequoia.
Very nice Sequoia that I would rather not. So anyway, but winter driving tips. PA has a great website called PA 511. And it has weather conditions, traffic maps, a snowplow locator.
Yep. Yeah, so that's actually a recent addition. They had some of the trucks, the PennDOT trucks with trackers in them last year.
Okay.
But this year they have, I think they said 2,300 of the trucks have trackers in them. So you're going to be
Wow.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see where the PennDOT trucks are, where they're plowing, and the last time the road was plowed.
So we'll know when we come home if our driveway is plowed shut.
Yes.
So I'll know how much of a running I have to get up the driveway.
Yes. So, and I thought that was actually pretty neat because, and I'd never been on PA 511.
I didn't even know this existed, to be completely honest.
So, but they show you traffic maps, they show you road closures, they show where road work's being done, and it's basically traffic information for the state.
Yeah.
And what they also have on, as Ashley said, they have the weather conditions too. So if you're traveling somewhere, you can actually get a weather condition report.
They have traffic cameras too.
Yeah, it shows all the traffic cameras.
Right.
That are available. So
I'm
you can
navigating
see
through this as you can tell my surprise.
So
if you go into it,
it's a really neat site.
If you go into it, we are in the Lehigh Valley, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, because there's a bunch of different regions and stuff. There's like Altoona, Capital, Greater Philadelphia, Lehigh Valley, Northwestern, Scranton, Southeastern, and State College, Northern Tier. So we're Lehigh Valley, Allentown, and that has all that information in there. I'm actually pulling up. Oh, select a route. Hello.
So the other thing you can do, if you don't have internet, you don't have access to this, you can actually call the number. You can simply pick up your phone, dial 511, and you'll automatically be routed to the regions where you live, your region's 511 phone system. And it's actually voice activated. So you can, and when you call in, if you're going to a different region and you want to know what that region is, you just have to say switch region, and it picks up your voice and switches the region. So it's actually really easy to operate.
Yeah, you don't have
even
to
by
have
calling.
a smartphone or anything.
Yeah.
And you can do this on a regular computer or tablet too.
Or you can call in 511.
That was it?
Yeah. Ashley is fully distracted by this website
I
right
am,
now.
because I went onto the traffic maps and I'm like, look, it's
So
moving.
if you're traveling in Pennsylvania, you can dial 511, or you can look at the website, and it has traffic and weather information. So,
and there's an app.
And there's an app too. So it's going to come up, and you'll be able to see your winter driving stuff there. So if you have to drive in inclement weather or you're going somewhere, just dial it up, take a look.
All right. Well, that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching on Facebook, have a lovely, lovely, lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Be nice to each other and wear your seatbelts. Good night.